My name is Lynn O'Loughlin and welcome to How to Print an Etching Plate. So here we have is a workshop situation. Here to my left we have the printing press, and here to my right we have the inking up area. So what I have here already pre-mixed up is ink and some oil. Now this is special etching ink that I've squeezed out and I have onto this area here. Now into this ink I have added a little bit of linseed oil, and that's just to loosen up the consistency of the ink. So we're going to just push all the oil and the ink in together so we have a good mixture that's nice and loose. Be careful not to make the ink too runny. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the ink and I'm going to bring it over onto the hot plate. Okay, so if you'd like to come over a little bit, we can see that we have the image here. Now the image here is a portrait. This has previously been etched. Now what I mean by etching is that this plate has been processed through acid and been in the acid bath for a few minutes. The drawing has been originally drawn on, and then what the acid has done is the acid has eaten into the plate and it has left the engraving there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply the ink. And what I'm doing is I'm applying it all over this plate, and the ink is actually going into all the lines on the plate. So I'm pushing the ink all around till I've covered the whole plate, being very careful to get all the corners. Now at any stage when you feel that the plate is getting a little hot, we'll slide it off onto the side and we can continue on. Keep on manoeuvring the ink all around till we've covered the whole plate. So you can see that the copper takes the ink very well. Now we'll put down the squeegee, and what we have here is we have scrim. Now this scrim is going to push the ink even further now into the areas all around the etching plate. Be careful not to scrape and pull, just to push the ink around nice and gently. Now, if you want to come up close here, we can just see the image coming through. Okay, so we can really see that the ink is staying in the areas. Okay, so when we get to a stage where we can kind of see the image coming through again, we can stop there. And what we can get onto here is the polishing stage. Now, there's different ways of doing this, but I like to take two pieces of paper, tissue paper or old paper, recycled paper, and just keep moving around the plate and turning them over every time. Be careful not to rub too hard, just to make sure that we're concentrating on the areas in the background where there isn't as much drawing. Now we can really see the copper starting to shine through. So we'll just give it about 1 more minute of pushing the ink around. And it's ready then to go onto the etching press. So here we have a brand new etching press, and this is called the bed of the press, and these are called the blankets, and we have the rollers here. So what I'm going to do is I've already placed down some newsprint. Okay, so I'm going to place my newsprint down, and very carefully I'm going to take my plate and I'm going to place it over and place it down onto the bed. Now previously, before this, I pre-soaked some of the paper. Now what that means is the special etching paper that's used to print this plate is pre-soaked, so it's damp. So what happens there is when the paper is damp, it is a lot more susceptible to take the ink onto the plate. So I'm just going to come over here, and we see here that we have nice damp consistency, and we bring it over. Okay, so this is placed down as best we can onto the bed, and then we take another piece of newsprint and we sandwich the whole plate with the paper onto the bed, taking care to take all the creases. Okay, so very carefully we take the blankets and we push them down onto the bed and flatten them all out. Okay, So for the next area then, we're going to push the wheel and it's going to roll over the etching plate and it's going to come out on the other side here. So we're going to roll it on through. Okay, so we're going to very gently take the blankets out of the way and push them back up. So what we should have here now is a plate that's been, we can see here that it's worked, that the pressure of the rollers has pushed down over the copper plate and that the paper has taken to that. So very gently, being very careful to have clean hands. If you don't have clean hands, we just use these paper offcuts and we push them at each side and we're going to pull towards you off the plate. So you can see here where the portrait has been transferred from the etching plate onto the paper and where we have inked up all those lines that have taken because of the damp paper that has been, the imprint has been printed onto the paper. So I'd like to say thank you very much, and that concludes my how to print an etching plate. Thank you, goodbye.